Well, let's plunge right in. My name is Adria, and I'm a conscious channel of Angels Ariel and Raphael. And this monthly time is for check in with the angels about what's going on for humankind. So that's pretty broad. It's different each month, and these angels belong to all of us. They're not a certain religion for faith or type of angel. Angels Ariel and Raphael are what you might call collective. They belong to all of us, accessible to all of us. This is Angel Raphael. Yeah, so a glorious dawn here on this date, although somewhat quote unquote random because of the monthly third Saturday. It happens to be astrologically quite significant for those who follow the solar astrology systems. Western astrology is the beginning of an era, an epoch called Aquarius. So many of you have been tuned in for some time to what you might call New Age, New Earth, which has to do quite a lot with freedom of mind, freedom of heart, and also moving in a fluid way away from what used to be the structures of the old. So you may have found in your energy body, in your conscious self, in your mental awareness that you've been attuned to these new times for some years now. But what happens now with the planetary alignment, it means your Earth has come full focus into these energies you have begun to see and know. So it's a little bit like riding in a wagon beside the train tracks. You know, the land is flat and it's cleared, so there's some ease of passage and you know the way. But now all of a sudden you find yourself on the train, on the tracks, you can go much faster. You're in alignment with the mode of travel. Transport here. And by travel we mean ascension, yes, in terms of enlightenment, but also interdimensional travel and ease of skill set use and so on. It's just one more alignment piece, quite a large one, with the planet itself, planet Earth. So yes, you've had access to these energies, and yes, it's yet another alignment, or we don't want to say fine tune because it's quite large, but another alignment into more of what is. You have already begun to sense in your being and knowing. So yes, today officially is the launch of this new era. So welcome. Welcome, Aquarius. We do think for those of you born into lifetimes to witness this transition of Earth's fate or way of being, you will be more and more enamored of the change that comes upon, in a planetary sense, in a collective sense, the change that comes for humankind. So change is never forced, but when things align a certain way, it prompts you sometimes. When the sun is so bright, if you are inclined to a picnic, that's the day for it, right? When it's pouring down hail, maybe you stay indoors. So the sun and the hail are not dictating your actions, but they certainly are in alignment with certain ways of being. So like that age of Aquarius, which will go on for the rest of your lifetimes now, even if you live another 100 years, you'll be in this age. And it's aligned to certain ways of being, a certain fluidity. So that's the first topic, which may interweave here. Second topic has to do with money worries, money woes, which is different than actual money problems, quote unquote problems. But many of you are feeling strained and stressed around the topic of money and not quite sure why. Meaning, it's not really that something changed in your bank account or portfolio or your future as far as you can envision it from here. But the stress level, the tension around it seems to have grown, right? If you felt that in the last week, the last hours and month, but not quite that long. So the last few days and week, especially, things have felt like a lot of tension in the area of finance, in especially with projected fears. What is to come? How am I going to make it? When I look at myself in the long run, how am I going to run that track or walk that line? I don't see how this can sustain. So you're right in the sense that it doesn't sustain, but from angelic perspective, that's a good thing, because what has been the underpinnings of money energetically here, we're not talking about stock market value or how much is in your bank account, but energetically, there's been quite a lot of a feeling of stress and distress around money your whole life, right? So it comes into this almost crisis point. Again, energetically, nothing's necessarily happening in the exterior of the bank account. Energetically, it comes to this crisis point where it feels like this can't go on. I can't sustain this. And you're correct. We do see that money will transition in some ways, perhaps not the ones forecast from here, but people are experimenting with different value systems around money, both in deep spiritual ways and in practical bank account ways. And that will continue, so we see an ease of transition. But what does not continue is this fear-based, power-over-based power line that has been running through money through all of your lifetime up until just about now. To many, many souls, some of them human, some angelic, some what we call galactic, in other words, born and raised on another planetary system, or outer space, if you like. Many beings have come together to change and shift the underlying power, structure, and intent behind money systems. So it's been cleared. Money has been cleared. It does not mean it flatlined. It doesn't mean you don't have it anymore. It means the money that you have, both digital and physical, practical and other ways, pieces of paper, that relate to online accounts or that relate to investments, all these kinds of money, they've been cleared of the power line, which was energetically about suppression of humankind. So what you have now is a neutrality around money. So then money can be what you bring to it. It can still be a stern tool. It can still be a feeling of abundance and play. It can still be neutral. In other words, you could use it different ways at different times. It can still be as a weapon. It can still be a gift. So it was never meant to feel so tied into this is what sustains my life, or this is what my identity is centered around. Am I doing well in this life, on this planet? Money was never meant to hold such a value weight to it. So now that it is neutral, that hard work has been done, you may feel a little disorganized. So that's what we mean by crisis point. When you're used to anchoring to something, even if it is a shackle, like a prison shackle chain, when you're used to your balance point being oriented around that, when it's gone, and again, not money, but the power system, the power over structure behind money, when it's gone, it can feel quite off balance. So some of you may have been physically feeling unwell, especially in the sense of off balance, dizziness, or that kind of unwell. And some of you may have been feeling in an emotional crisis when you project and try to think about, well, what about me and money in the future? Does it sustain? Can I retire? Can I work like this? So all of these are provoked. This kind of contemplation in the emotional sense is provoked because something very large has changed in the energy structures of money. So it's neutral now. This is very, very good news for humankind. And this is Angel Raphael. So very, very good news for humankind. And there's nothing you need to do about it, but we ask you to embrace bringing your own power structure into it. In other words, would I like money to be equally abundant to all? That's one type of power structure. Would I like to allow myself to become re-empowered, to not be so chained to negative effects of a value system based on money? And those are powerful ways that you can work with these new energies now that the playing ground is neutral. And then the more you work in those ways consciously, conscientiously with money, the more quickly you feel you find your footing again. Oh, there's nothing wrong here. In fact, it's quite good to have the shackle taken off, right? We just had to learn a new way of balance. So we do ask you to contemplate in what ways you have placed your value, centered your sense of value around how much money you have or how much potential money you have, your earning power or gold, maybe things that you're not spending right this moment, but how much are you valuing yourself based on that? And how much are you valuing others based on that? And do you really want to continue to have that as your value metric for yourself and others? We would suggest there are so many other more meaningful ways to look at your value. And do you wish to place value outside of yourself in such a subjective way like that, where it's up to others to judge how much value you have, as if you were a currency or a stock to be traded, right? From angelic standpoint, you have every right to, just with your own intent and sweetness, say, you know what? I am sovereign, and I choose to value myself by my own means and ways. And I'll contemplate what those might be, but for now, I choose to take back my sense of value, fully back from any system of monetary value. So come into however you like to value yourself and weigh yourself against your choices, your intent, your livelihood, your contribution, your heart space, how much you are divine. From angelic perspective, every particle of this universe, including every cellular particle of you, is divine. So if you are going to weaken that value by placing a dollar metric or saying, but my left foot is not so good, I can't run fast, we suggest you are undermining then your value, which is quite infinite. This is Adria, so the angels are saying we can take questions if there are any. So feel free to type in the chat if you have a question, and there's a bit of a delay, so they might keep talking or might be silent here for a moment. And yeah, happy Age of Aquarius to everyone. This is Angel Raphael. So we'll answer one question which is here in the field of those listening, which is, does there have to be some sort of dramatic collapse in the exterior sense around money? And we would say, not yes. It's those things happen. Historically, valuation can change, one currency relative to another, and so on, one stock relative to another. However, this change in the power line of money to a neutral space has occurred without the need for structural collapse in a way that can be seen. So that was not quite certain some months back. For now, we can say it's complete. The beautiful return of money as a neutral tool, like a garden trowel or a spade, kitchen scissors. fire. A neutral tool. Can make of it what you wish. So there's no need for external drama around money, but you feel it, right? You feel it as if something very large and stressful is going on, and that's why it's been a massive sea change relative to money and humankind. This is Adria. Question in the chat from Brenda. Has the energetic change around money been very recent? Absolutely, yes. This is Raphael. In the last 7 to 10 days has been the most intense energetic change around money systems, power over systems, here, the internal power structure of money in your lifetime. So yes, it has been recent. It has been, in that sense, severe, why you may feel off balance around this. But those of you who have a wide view, again, may have felt this coming or started to contemplate this. This in the same way that although officially now things come into even greater alignment for this fluidity and free will of Aquarian thinking and being, in the last 4 or 5 years, some of you have already felt this coming and been changing yourself in accordance and felt access to these energies. So it's never really a time point that's so strict that you can't come at it on either side. And so this is also the case. Yes, the shift is very real and very recent. However, it has been planned and in progress for some time, some months especially. So you may have been starting to feel this uproot in yourself, either the sense of money dissolving or just not quite there in the same way, or there more fluidly than usual. So yes, there is a time point which is quite recent, but also you may have felt this because it is so big. You may have felt it coming, the way that animals can sense an earthquake before it can be felt, and they move away from the water sources and so on. They move away from danger because they know. So you may have felt yourself begun to restructure. Do I need to be so reliant on this thing, money, or what is it that's causing me to panic? You may have already, in a spiritual sense, been looking at this very deeply, and this is why, because of the energetic change. This is Adria. If you have any other questions, feel free to type in the chat. And again, I'll wait for a moment to see. It's a time delay there on the chat. This is Angel Raphael. Yes, so quite a lot of freedom on offer for you, whether or not you have already been embracing this and flying free, or perhaps feel a bit jarred into this new freedom. We welcome this for humankind from angelic. It is very, very positive news. Not because we want to see each human or humanity collectively moving in any particular direction, except that we do have dearly held wishes to keep humanity free, to make their own choices, each one, and groups and the larger collective. So know, please, this is Angel Raphael, that you are loved and that your value, according to the angels, is quite infinite. So you do not have to prove your value to us, to the angels. So start there. When you are contemplating value, well, why don't I have to prove it? Or what does that mean? That I have infinite value that does not need to be proven? Is that different than how I grew up? Is it different how in my heart I judge myself as having worthiness or not, or less worthiness? From angelic perspective, there is a great equality of value for humankind, and the value is infinite. This is Adria, so getting the cue from the angels, that's the end of the message for today, and what a delightful message for us today. Thank you for being here to share it, and feel free to share it on with your friends, and have a glorious rest of your day here. Bye for now.